This podcast contains explicit content.
You are listening to Hardly Focused.
But isn't all food bad for you? I've been eating lasagna and muffins every day of my life for 40 years, and I feel terrible.
Wow, speaking of SpaceX, what a appropriate song to be playing. The World Has Turned and Left Me Here by Weezer. We're hardly focused, and right now the world is going to hell in a handbasket for a few different reasons. Obviously, we've got the pandemic that is never ending until someone can cure the COVID-19. But right now, and it's I hate saying this,
but you're going to say it.
I'm going to say it. It's nice to look at CNN.com and see something on the front page that for once isn't about the coronavirus.
That's true. That stuff was getting beaten like a dead horse.
I mean,
but what is it replaced with there, sir?
Civil
Is it
unrest.
happy? Is it some good news? Please be John Krasinski for me. I haven't seen anything in the last week.
What, you mean sell myself out to Viacom? Okay. What a fool.
Did we ever find out how much he made on that deal?
Millions.
I mean, not for nothing. Like, if somebody sent you a check for $50 million, be like, I'll buy this, I'd sell it.
Yeah.
Dude, for $50 million, I'd probably let's just not say I do a lot of things. I would do a lot of things for 50 mil.
Two chicks at the same time, man.
I do a lot of things for $10 and a pack of bugles.
Yeah. $10? That'd be great, man. I could use $10. I could get myself some, food. Some sustenance.
Get myself a Hunger Man meal.
Yeah.
2 Hungry Man meals.
$10, man. You get those frozen banquet dinners. Those are like 10 for 10.
Oh, damn. That's a week. You get a whole week's worth of food.
A week and then some. Yeah, there you go. If you only eat, one per day.
Some days you get hungry.
So, we don't need to recap it because you should know what's happening right now. Obviously, George Floyd.
Unless you've been living under a rock.
George Floyd, African American man.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, passed away due to injuries sustained by a police officer named Derek Chauvin, who knelt down on his neck, effectively suffocated the man, and killed him. And I have not seen the video. I don't want to see it. I know it's been basically played everywhere, but I've avoided it because
the uncut video or just any part of it.
Just any part of it. I got enough problems in my life right now. I got enough things that are pissing me off. The last thing I need is to watch an innocent man die for no reason other than a power trip. But
so for all those protesters out there, just throwing it out there, in the corona pandemic, wear a mask, fellas. It not only conceals your identity, but it keeps you safe.
Absolutely.
I will say that I've been watching the news and watching everything that's been going on with the riots and the protests and everything. And I have noticed that the protesters are wearing face masks. They're not social distancing by any means, but they are absolutely wearing face masks, which is good. So
that is good.
I don't know if it's
I'd also like to point out that
some of that pepper spray out of your lungs.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a real good point. I'd also like to point out that if you're making a Molotov cocktail, tape the cloth to the side of the bottle. Do not stuff it in the bottle. That'll let you throw it at much more at your own pace.
I didn't know that. Think about making myself
you light it and you tape it to the side, but you don't put it in the bottle at all?
Correct, because if you hold it for too long while it's in the bottle, well, you're going to have a flame broiler in your hands. But the idea is that you just need an ignition source for when the bottle breaks.
It breaks. Ah.
Mm-hmm.
But you still
is that in the Anarchist Cookbook?
I don't know. I actually saw that on a Reddit post because, I don't know, Reddit's being weird like that too, I guess.
What, were you on the You Should Know subreddit?
It might have been. I think I was checking out the front page and getting angry at it in general.
TIL, huh?
Yeah. So the towel though still needs to be soaked though in gasoline, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you want the towel to light, but you don't want it to light and go inside the main combustion chamber. Like I said, you want to keep your hands after this riot.
Right. So it all started in Minneapolis, but now it's spread to Los Angeles. It's in Denver. They're doing protests in Boston right now. At New York City, it's
Louisville, Nashville, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh,
Born and
Detroit.
raised.
all the cities that you could hear are hardly focused on.
Yakima.
Not yet, but soon. So it's borderline between complete pandemonium and some degree of civility.
Depends on the state.
It entirely depends on the city sometimes.
Because in New York, for example, the news was showing cop cars on fire. But then you see in other cities, the cops protesting with civilians, and they're at least being somewhat civilized. They're not setting things on fire. No one's getting shot. Because that's the thing right now is it's like the reporters and people who aren't necessarily doing anything too rash are still getting pelted with pepper balls and other things. It's getting pelted with flashbangs and smoke grenades,
Or just straight arrested.
right? In
Hey,
Minneapolis,
here's my press pass. Here's my baton.
what they say
Courtesy with a smile.
in Minneapolis. In Minneapolis the other night is most of the folks who were arrested there were out of towners. So it wasn't even.
Yeah, that's the conspiracy theory that everybody's like, hey, all these white folks that are not from our neighborhood are coming in and causing a ruckus, and we're being peaceful and they're fucking it up.
Some people just like to run on chaos. What can I say?
Well, it is absolute chaos right now, and at least as far as I know, in the city of Boston, it hasn't yet picked up to the point where everything's on fire. I did see that the Macy's in downtown was boarded up, but I guess it's a data hub too.
Is Macy's boarded up because of the protest or because they're going out of business?
Column A, column B. I guess the building houses a fiber optic data hub that if something were to happen to that building, it would actually severely affect internet.
Interwebs?
Yeah.
Why the fuck are they using a Macy's to hold their internet? What? Never mind.
Macy's
I'm not
on the
even.
first 2 floors, and the internet hub is on like the other 18 floors.
Oh, okay. That makes a little more sense.
Look, they had a deal with Jordan Marsh, and that deal was just grandfathered in. Along with the
Was that
blueberry
before
muffins.
or after Bradley's?
Before or after Bradley's.
I was a manager at Stewart's, and
Was Jordan Marsh local, or was that around the nation?
I don't know. Jordan Marsh.
I think I was too young to really pay attention to Jordan Marsh. All I know is that they have those really good blueberry muffins you can only get around like Christmas time.
It was a New England-based area, so I'd say regional. It was a regional store.
Okay, gotcha.
Operated throughout New England, but not necessarily. It's like going to, some of whatever other stores around.
So, anyway, actually, kind of speaking of retail, watching CNN last night, and they had a shot in Minneapolis, just the police holding back protesters. A little bit of a riot going on. They showed an Office Depot that was spray painted and covered in profanities, but behind the Office Depot was a
bunch of Staples employees laughing their ass off.
No, it was a Kmart with a bunch of going out of business signs.
Oof.
And I'm sure
Everything 80% off. Please loot us.
Yeah.
We actually will make money if you loot us.
No, you know what? Just set us on fire. Just get it out of the way. Take care of it now.
Didn't the police station that
Precinct 3. Yep.
that's what it was. Yeah, that was set ablaze.
Yeah.
Did you see the photo of like the conflagration, like the nighttime shot of that?
No, I didn't.
There was a nice photographer sitting there getting some good angles.
If you look at the precinct fire, I think that is it the precinct one? No, it's not the precinct one. I don't think there's another fire that was in Minneapolis. It is, and I know it's because it's a riot. not a good thing, but it is a stunningly beautiful shot of a conflagration. Like, you look at it, it's extra crisp. Like, the fire just pops on the photo. It's dead of night, and so it's contrasted against the black of the night. It's a beautiful photo of a terrible thing. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Would you say that's like Pulitzer worthy?
Honestly, with the way that this story is going to maintain 2020, yes, I do believe it might be Pulitzer worthy. It might be Nobel worthy.
You get instances like this in times of tragedy, in times of war. You do get those money shots every once in a while.
Yeah, that's the thing. You go back to like Vietnam. There's a couple of Vietnam photos. They're like, it's unimaginably horrible photo, but it is also in its horribleness a beautiful photo shot because of what it is,
right,
or what it contains.
Yep.
You know, like the girl that was like literally running naked. She's like 9 years old and she's running naked towards the cameraman. It's because she's coming. Her clothes were burned off from napalm.
Yeah,
it's a horrible photo, but the composition is there and it evokes such emotion. It has to be a beautiful shot, even though it's a horrible thing. You know, but it's they're diametrically opposed ideas, but they can exist at the same time.
Tiananmen,
it's a beautiful shot, horrible shot.
Tiananmen Square, the Tank Man.
Yeah.
Tank Man.
Yep.
The problem with Tank Man is everybody has the close-up Tank Man shot. No one realizes there is a wide-angle lens shot that really makes it more powerful.
Well, there's a lot of dead people around, isn't there?
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
But everybody sees the front tank and the tank right behind it. They don't see the fact that it's a fucking line of tanks.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. Tenement Square never happened.
He's just there.
Yeah. Tiananmen Square never happened. Okay.
According to China, it never happened.
Yeah.
Glorious leader said it never happened.
And then you have 9/11 with the firefighters raising the flag. I mean, that again.
Exactly. Like
that is literally taped in my basement. That picture's in my basement.
Yeah. Horrible thing that happened. A fantastic shot that came out of it. And a very symbolic one too at that. Obviously a lot of polarizing responses to how everything, again, with the epicenter of this being Minnesota and Minneapolis, a lot of polarizing responses to how things have been handled at both the state level and then the local level. So Mike, I'll start with you on this one.
Oh God. Go ahead.
How do you think the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota, respectively, have handled this whole situation?
The mayor of Minneapolis, I would say, definitely handled it maybe well. I don't know. I mean, initially well. He's like, look, we need to get this guy in jail. Like, he's guilty as hell. I saw the video. Let's do this. That's good. I think he lost control of the police department, maybe. And also I haven't seen all of what's happened with the governor. He did have a good thing about when the CNN reporter got arrested. He literally released basically an edited version of his transcript with the CNN CEO. It was like, hey, we fucked up. That never should have happened. The last thing we need is a reporter to get detained, because that automatically makes the crowd assume that the police are going to do something bad that they don't want getting filmed. So we need to make sure that never happens again. I'll fall on the sword, even though I wasn't there. It's something we should never do. That's great. The problem is when we're starting to call in the National Guard, that is when you are going to tread ever so lightly, because National Guard is Army, man. They're not police. National Guard, yes, they are, reservists. They're not necessarily full-time Army guys, but you go in there and your job is to quell things, and you're the National Guard. You're not going in there with batons. You're going in there with weapons. So, I mean, look at what happened at Kent, Ohio. National Guard goes in, they fire, you kill 4 students. And that was one protest in a small community, never mind an entire city on edge, on fire. Take a look at LA, 1992. Like, look at the response and you're like, don't do that. That's what you don't do.
Right.
Just try to do not that.
Same question. What do you think?
I honestly echo a lot of Mike's opinions on that. Those are fantastic opinions. And yeah, the National Guard is not to be trifled with in those situations. They literally have a license to kill, James Bond style. Like, they're not going to get in trouble for gunning you down if you charge at them with that Molotov cocktail taped to the side, like I was mentioning before. I mean, so just, yeah, they got to tread, the people need to tread lightly in this situation, because the Guard can really just, I mean, and the thing about it is the Guard is like, they're supposed to protect the people to a degree. But I mean, when it comes down to it, if there is force that needs to be applied to stop these things and to quell these things, they're going to do it. And the mayors, I mean, they're spokespeople. I mean, they do what they can, but they only have so much sway over their local communities. So it's a fine line in all situations like that. Yeah, that it's, I mean, it could get worse before it gets any better in this situation. As long as they're wearing their masks.
Yeah.
Stop the spread of COVID, guys.
Yeah. So with everything happening during a pandemic, obviously the worst possible time for something like this to spin up, are you worried that we're going to see a whole new spike in COVID cases?
We could. I mean, I feel like there's going to be a spike that way regardless, but these areas where like literally hundreds and hundreds of people are gathering together, I mean, there are asymptomatic carriers that could very well, you know, they're all getting sweaty out there. They're protesting. Blood is being splattered via these rubber bullet kisses, as System of a Down would say. And yeah, it's gonna get. I mean, it could very well be a case where, oops, like I wasn't gonna get corona before. Now I have corona. And that could slow people down for the protests, but at the same time, the protests, I mean, they have to happen to a degree. I'm all about the peaceful protests. I don't really think that burning down a police building really helps any citizen, because you're using citizen tax money to rebuild that afterwards. It's going to have to get rebuilt. And now the citizens are on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars of rebuilding. It's going to have to happen. So, I mean, there are better ways and worse ways of doing things like this. I guess if you're going to, like I said, throw those Molotov cocktails, try to throw them at people. I don't know, that doesn't come out right.
If you're gonna kill somebody, try to kill babies.
You know, if I were to play this in GTA, I guess I would only throw the Molotovs at the homeless people inside of the tunnels. You know what I mean?
Mike, what do you think? You think we're going to see a spike in cases?
We absolutely are. The interesting thing is going to be how much of a spike is going to happen with the first responders and the police forces.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, like they're handling things in close proximity as well when they're arresting these people and or beating them to death. But I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. The good thing is a lot of people are wearing masks, so I mean that's helping a little bit. The social distancing has gone to hell, but
at least we're wearing masks.
I mean, the other thing too is a lot of the other states that aren't protesting right now are already seeing a spike because of their opening up the states beforehand. So I think just in general, the entire country is going to have a huge spike in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it's just going to to be a clusterfuck.
It's going to reset everything that we've done, all the progress that we've made, the progress without having a vaccine available to, actually, cure people. So Derek Chauvin, he's the officer who was filmed.
Former officer.
Former officer. Thank you.
Already?
Yeah. Oh, he was fired. Yeah, that's what I like too. He was placed on leave for all of.
He was placed on leave for like 24 hours. Fired the next day. Arrested the next day, and then his wife sent divorce papers the next day.
Yeah. Oof. His wife, who was Miss Minnesota, like 2 or 3 years ago, like she's a babe.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he married up.
So, Derek Chauvin's actions pretty much sparked nationwide unrest. How insane is it that a single person could cause so much turmoil so quickly?
I think it's not necessarily the single person. If you think about it, it's not just, hey, we're protesting him. What we're protesting is the last straw. It's the fact that I can't play a video game in my house when I'm black without getting shot. You know, I can't sleep in my own apartment or own house without a SWAT team breaking in and killing me. Like, I can't pull over to the side of the road. I can't run down the street exercising without getting killed. Like, it's everything else, and it was just the final straw. And it's I think it's because of the video. Brutality's happened. Now you can just see it.
Yeah.
And I think everybody literally seeing him, and it wasn't like a split second thing. Like, oh, you know, he maybe could it be interpreted that he was being violent, you know, he was going to pull a gun or anything like that. He literally was on the ground cuffed, and it wasn't just like a 3 second, like, oh, the officer, you know, applied too much pressure and broke his neck. He literally had his knee on his neck for minutes upon minutes upon minutes. There was minutes that went by that he could have stopped that.
I think it was like
that's
like
what
7 minutes.
really enraged everybody. It was like, this was entirely preventable and entirely unnecessary.
Yeah. You're right, Fro. It was 7 minutes. It was about 7 minutes.
Which is crazy. And the people were even shouting at the officer, like, dude, he's down. He's cuffed. Pick him up. Put him in the car. Like, he's not a threat anymore.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, it's not like he's on PCP and he's trying to eat your face.
Now, that would be some reason to hold the dude's neck down.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a reason to use lethal force.
Yeah.
I don't want my face chewed off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if he had a weapon that he was pointing.
Yes.
Brandishing.
No.
Actually
he
swinging.
allegedly had a bad check.
Yeah.
Or a counterfeit $20 bill. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
Either way, not a violent crime. And yeah, he may have been like angry and quote unquote resisting, allegedly. But at a certain point, you're no longer resisting when you're on the ground. You put him in the back of the fucking cop car.
Yeah.
And you go your way.
It was a case of EWB, existing while black. That's what it was. Sounds terrible.
I didn't know what ACAB was 6 months ago. So, I mean,
yep,
that's all I'm seeing now.
All cops
all cops are bastards.
Yep. I was gonna say bitches, but
yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna just speaking because my father-in-law is a police chief and knows how to run his team, so they're not all sacks of shit. But I have respect for police officers. The ones I don't have respect for are the ones like Derek Chauvin, who clearly abuse their power and do what they do. That's
I think there's that fine line, and as white people, we can have that fine line, because as black people, they're like, I get shit on every day of my life because I'm black. Fuck you. I hate cops. Fine. That's your position. I'm not going to discount that at all. But there are cops that are good. But, and it's a huge but, big butt. I like big butts. I'm not lying. When a cop walks in with an itty bitty waist and an unknown face, you get shot.
Damn.
God damn it, Mike.
But everybody's like, oh, you got to respect the cops. Got to respect the cops. Oh, there's only a few bad apples, and they never finish the sentence. A few bad apples spoils the bunch. So if there's a couple cops that are bad, the good cops can be good all they want, because the bad cops are going to overshadow the good cops. And not only that, you've got the good cops, but you've also got the silent cops that are letting bad cops get away with shit.
True.
And
there were several other officers there that could have stopped this.
The quiet blue line,
Yeah. There were 4 officers, I believe.
Yep. There's 4 officers there, 3 of which didn't have their knee on anybody's neck. And they could have been, hey, let's get him in the squad car. Let's get out of here.
Yep.
But they didn't.
You have to be super confrontational about it. Just like, hey, it's time to bring him up.
You get people filming you. Realize that and go, hey, maybe we shouldn't make a scene. Let's get the guy in the cop car and book him.
And they were standing around like guards too. They were just standing there and just making sure that no one tried to break down the proverbial barrier while this was going on. The mindset too, I gathered, of the bystanders, those who were filming everything, was they all were thinking the same thing. They all knew what was going to happen. They all knew that they all knew the worst. They all feared the worst. We're expecting the worst. And they all also knew that, hey, we're filming this. Everyone just hang back, yell at the cops if you want to. Don't do anything. Don't rush them. Don't try to intervene.
Don't give them an excuse to
Right.
keep on doing what they're, yeah.
Because they all know what's going to happen. They all have the same mindset. This is going to go to the news. This is going to go on social media. Shit is going to go down, and it's going to be equally worse, if not like more so, compared to what just happened. And that's exactly what has played out. Is that we've got riots everywhere. We've got protests. And I'll wrap it up with this. The night that everything started and kicked off and all the protests were going on everywhere, I felt really weird about this, but I felt committed to go through with it. On Adult Swim, there was a 6-hour marathon of The Boondocks, and I had to watch every episode.
It's a good show.
God, yes. I'm assuming it included the MLK episode too, right?
Oh, you're damn right it did. That's a great episode. And the Uncle Ruckus show as well, when he gets his BET show.
Yes.
So, I mean, the timing could not have been better. So, that's it. That is George Floyd. We're in day 5 as of recording of everything that's been going on. There's so far no signs of stopping. Derek Chauvin charged with murder. Oh God, I hope it sticks. I hope the courts and the juries make the right decision, because if they don't,
third-degree murder though, apparently
it is third degree murder. But still, if it gets cleared, and everyone's afraid it's going to get cleared, but if it gets cleared, everything that's happening right now is just going to it's going to increase exponentially. It's going to get so much worse. We're going to have, it's going to be April 29th, 1992 all over again.
If he does not get convicted and get the book thrown at him, both things need to happen. If those two things don't happen, this is going to look like a kid's teacup party. All right. This is going to look like a tea party for a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
The way things are going now compared to what would happen if he gets fucking acquitted or guilty with like a 2-year probation, like anything less than throw the fucking book at him and put him in Gen Pop. Like, that's it. Like, it's going to boil over again. Everything's simmering now.
Right.
Everything is boiling over. This is simmer.
Yeah. No, you're going to have cities on flame without rock and roll when this guy gets acquitted.
Oh,
I hate saying when, but that's just, it is a hard 50-50 right now.
hey, look, everybody was certain 4 cops were going to get convicted in 1992.
Yeah. So, all right.
Everybody's certain he's going to get convicted now. Let's find out.
There's more ridiculousness happening in the world, and we will come back and change gears and talk about our Cheeto in chief, Danny Tramp, and his war that he has instigated against social media. We will come back with that.